What's up guys, V here. And in today's video, I want to show you how to install the Thermalright Trofeo Vision ARGB into your PC. And for this video, I'm going to be installing this on an AM5 Ryzen CPU. But if you have an Intel CPU, I'm going to show you the brackets for that as well. And the installation process will be very similar for Intel and AMD. Now, since every single CPU cooler is a little bit different, I'm not going to get into too much detail about the removal process of your CPU cooler, since I don't know exactly which cooler you guys have. Now, the only thing I can recommend is warm up your CPU a little bit before the removal process. You can run the PC 30 seconds or so to soften that old thermal paste so it'll pop right out. Sometimes you got to give it a little wiggle while you're pulling it out. And if it still doesn't go, make sure the screws are fully loosened up. Now, since I'm removing an old cooler, I have thermal paste to clean off, and we do have to clean that off. And the way I'm going to do this is 91% alcohol and some paper towels. Now, before I wet the paper towel, I like to give it a dry wipe first. Then take a bit of alcohol. You don't need a whole lot. You can spend a lot of time with like Q-tips and clean all that off if you want to, but the main surface area that you need to worry about is the front face of it. Now, one more tip for AMD users. If you're building your PC brand new, you're going to have these little brackets attached up top right here, and then you're going to have one at the bottom over here. And each of these brackets has 2 screws. You're going to want to remove all 4 screws. Take these out, grab a Ziploc bag and toss everything in along with the screws, and then keep them in case you ever need them for a future CPU cooler. Okay, so as you can see, I removed the GPU just so it's not in the way, and it makes it a little easier to work in this area. So first thing we need to do is figure out where you're going to install the radiator. So for me, I'm going to install it right up top with the tubes in the rear, and then these pipes coming off of the CPU block on the bottom. So it'll be something like that there. All right, so to install the radiator, the screws you're going to need is in this little bag, and this bag is not labeled. So I'm going to feed these cables to the back first, so nothing's getting in the way. Same with the fan cables. Now, I've had some cases where they don't have enough holes on the case and they don't match up with every single screw. If you can't put every single screw in, it's not a big deal. Just put in as many as you can and you're good to go. All right, so that is now installed. In that same little bag where we got the screws to attach this radiator, there are these little nuts, or I'm not really sure what these are called, but if you're installing this on an Intel CPU, these are the ones you're gonna need to attach these brackets to the motherboard. The difference between the Intel CPUs is where all of these come into play. As you can see, this one says 20XX, that just means 2000 something. So 2066, 2011, whatever yours is. So these would be the standoffs for that motherboard. You're not gonna need this backplate. And if you are installing this on an Intel 2011 or 2066, like I said, these are the ones you're gonna need. And as you can see, they're not symmetrical on both sides. This side has this little, not sure what that's called either, but this little block right here. That's the side that you're gonna have to screw into your CPU socket. So that's the first note for Intel 2000 users. If you're installing this on an Intel 1700, 1851, 1200, or 1150s, that's when you're gonna need this backplate. Now, this backplate that it comes with, these little corners move back and forth. That's because the spacing on the 1150s and 1700 have different spacing. Just match up the spacing to whatever your spacing is, and I'll show you where this is installed in a second. For AMD, AM4 and AM5, these are the ones you're gonna need for your installation, which is the ones I'm gonna need for my installation. And then Intel users need these straight brackets right here, and AMD users are gonna need these bent brackets right here. Now, I know that was a lot of information to take in. I'm not looking to confuse anyone. This is probably the hardest part of the process if you're new to this type of stuff. They did make it a little complicated. They definitely could have simplified it like some other coolers, but this isn't that bad. Okay, so for AMD users, like I said, there's a backplate already pre-attached. AM4 backplate usually falls off. This one is screwed in place. And if it does fall off, you can just hold it in place while you screw in the brackets, or you can just put a piece of tape from this side to this side, just tape it up temporarily and then remove the tape once the installation is complete. For Intel users, you're gonna need to attach your backplate. So go ahead and peel off these little adhesives. Make sure these are spaced correctly for your motherboard, and then stick those screws through the 4 holes. And then as far as the backplate goes, you're good to go. All right, now that we got all of that out of the way, we're gonna move on to actually installing the correct brackets for our CPU. So for AMD, like I said, I'm gonna need these red standoffs right here, or whatever you call these, spacers. And these just fit in right over the backplate screw holes, just like that. They're kind of loose, so they can fall off. And then we're gonna need these screws that say AM4/AM5 on them. And of course, we're gonna need these brackets. So just put one bracket on each side and then one screw per corner, and then just thread it in by hand lightly for now, just so everything stays in place. And then you can go ahead and just tighten these down. Now, like I said, if you have an Intel motherboard that required this backplate, depending on your specific motherboard, you're gonna need either the black spacers right here or the blue spacers right here. You would just put those spacers on these threaded screws right here, and then you would put these on, and then you would take these on there just like that. For the 2000 motherboards on Intel, you're just gonna put these in the socket where the screw holes are, and then these are just gonna go in place just like that. No spacers needed for that specific Intel socket. But yeah, hopefully that wasn't too confusing, and hopefully I did a good enough job explaining it. And at this point in your install, you should have your designated brackets, standoffs, and spacers installed on your motherboard, which means now we can move on to installing the CPU block onto our motherboard. Take this as your reminder to remove this plastic cover. They do include some thermal paste, so that's the one we're going to use, but you can choose to use whatever thermal paste you want for this installation. Now, if you notice any fingerprints or anything on the CPU surface, just take some alcohol and wipe it, and then go ahead and apply your thermal paste. That's about all the thermal paste you're going to need for this installation. And you just line up these little screw holes with these screws right here. And now we got this side screwed in just a couple turns just so it stays here. It's gonna look a little lopsided right now. All you have to do is line up this side here. Once you line it up, you're gonna wanna put some pressure with the screwdriver and give it a couple turns. And now both sides are in place. However, they're not fully tightened. So now we're gonna give each side a few turns at a time, just like this, until eventually it's fully tightened. And the reason you wanna do it like this is so that both sides have an equal amount of pressure and it's sitting properly onto the CPU surface. Now, once I get it all the way tightened, like it doesn't wanna move anymore, I back it off just like half a turn, just because these are spring loaded and it doesn't need to be super tight. And now we're ready to move on to the cable connection portion of the video. This cable that came off of the radiator on the backside near the pipes, this is the CPU fan cable. So my CPU fan header is right up here. This is gonna be the closest hole right here. So I'm just gonna feed it through the front right there. Now these other cables right here that came off of the fans on this side, this one is for the fans and this is for the RGB. Now the fans are going to be plugged into the CPU fan right up here. And now as you can see, there's the CPU fan header right there, the CPU pump header right there, which they're interchangeable. It doesn't really matter. They both run off of the same thing, so it doesn't really matter. This system fan, that's different. That's for your case fans. So if your motherboard only has a CPU fan header, that's perfectly fine. What you would do is you would take this cable that has this little daisy chain and you would then plug that into this header right here. And as you can see, there's this little tab right here. I call it a rail. And then there's this little notch on the actual cable. And all you have to do is line those up and it just slides in place just like that. Now, since I have a dedicated pump fan header right there, I can take this one that says pump and plug it into that. it plugs in the same exact way this one plugged in. However, if you don't have a pump header like this, then what you would do is you would daisy chain it, and that also plugs in the same exact way. There's this little rail right here, and then you would just slide that in place just like that. And that would work exactly the same as if you had this pump fan header. Now for this cable here, this is the RGB. It has this little arrow right here, which means that is the power side. And if you look, I have an RGB, it's called on my motherboard ARGB V2. It's a 5 volt. So you see where that plus sign is, it says plus 5 volt, and then D and G. So this is an ARGB header, not to be confused with that 12 volt 4-pin header. So as you can see here, this one has 2, and then it's missing one, and then another pin right there, which lines up with this. So you would just match up that little arrow with the 5 volt, and you can't really plug this in wrong, and because of that missing pin, and there we go, that's plugged in. And now that RGB cable that we just plugged in also has a daisy chain. You take off this cover and there it is. And so if you have more RGB devices that you needed to plug into that header, you would just now plug them into this daisy chain. All we have to do is pull these cables back out to the back so we can cable manage them back there. Now go ahead and connect this USB-C cable that plugs into your motherboard, usually on the bottom of your motherboard. So we're going to connect this side of the cable to the motherboard first, and then we'll connect this side of the cable to the screen. Okay, so on this motherboard, we have 2 USB headers. One is right here, and then one is right here. But usually they'll say something like USB on it. And hopefully you can see right there, there's 1 pin missing, and that's what these look like. 1 pin is missing. So all you have to do is line it up with that missing pin and plug it in, just like that. And now as you can see, this one's plugged in, and then I have another one for another device plugged in right here. You can run this cable out to the back, then you can pull it down through the front, just like this. And then you can choose to plug it into the screen and then place the screen, and then you can zip tie this cable wherever you want and sort of hide it the best that you can. Now once you got this fully installed, the next step is going to be install the software. So I'm going to go ahead and put my GPU back in and get everything situated with the software and how to control everything using that software. Alright, so once you get to their official website, you got to go to this support tab right here. Click download. This is the one we're going to need up here. There's another version down here for these 2 coolers. I don't know what the difference is, but we're going to go ahead and click English version right here. Once it is downloaded, you're going to have this zip file. Just click on it and click extract all. Once that's done, just click into this folder, and we're going to need this file right here, so double click it and then just go through these prompts, create a desktop shortcut, install it the way you want to install it. Once it is installed, I'm going to keep these both checked. I don't know what the second one is, but it says I need this top one, so I'll just keep both of these checked. Click finish. So it says down here, if you cannot connect during the first run, please click here to install or repair Net 6.0. So I'm just going to go ahead and open the program and see. It looks like it did connect automatically, and it did open into this drawer here. So I guess I did not need that .NET 6.0, although I guess it wouldn't be a bad thing to install it. So I'll just keep that open for now in case I run into any issues. So here it is. Here's the software. Here you can set some themes, it looks like. So here you can rotate the display if you need to. I do not need to. Here they have some different themes preset. It does change in real time when you click on them. In here, these are some online themes. I don't know what online means, but I'm assuming these have to be downloaded. So here's some different themes. So that's pretty cool. I went ahead and set one of these themes right here, and then I went and chose an image. And as you can see there on screen, that's what it looks like. So it does look like these have to download. So you can go through and check it out and see what you like and set it up the way you like to. Well, there it is, fully installed and ready to go. You could definitely check out the software a little bit in a deeper dive. But for now, that's all I have for you in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.